Hi, it's Mike with Garden State Epoxy, and today we're going to be making a fractal burn charcuterie board using Upstart's 1-to-1 tabletop epoxy. Once the burning is complete, I go through with a wire wheel and a vacuum and clean out the remaining soot and ash left in the fractal rivers. Once the rivers have been cleared out, I come through with my sander just to clean up the surface of the slab. The final step before our first pour is to wipe the board down with alcohol and tape up the edges. For our first pour, we're going to be using a mix of Upstart Epoxy's sky blue and purple mica powder pigments. This epoxy has a working time of about 30 minutes. You can pour from 1/8 to 1/4 inch in depth, and you can recoat in about 4 to 6 hours. And before leaving, to let the epoxy cure, make sure to hit it with the torch to get rid of all the remaining bubbles. Now it's over to the router sled to resurface the piece. After flattening, it's over to the fez tool to sand out any remaining router marks. Next, we're going to line up the template for the handle. I'm going to do a shallow pass with my router to give us a nice edge for our flush trim bearing to ride along. After the flush trimming is complete, I come through with a 1/4 inch round over to add an edge profile. After wiping the piece down with alcohol, we're ready for our flood coat. For flood coating, I usually use 2 to 3 ounces per square foot. I use a trowel to spread the epoxy across the top surface of the piece and alongside the edges. Then I come through with a gloved hand to smooth out my edges. This epoxy is self-leveling, so as long as you make sure you have full coverage of the entire piece, the epoxy will do the rest of the work. Add some heat to torch out the remaining bubbles and you're good to go. After curing for 24 hours, sand off the drips on the underside of the piece and finish with an oil of your choosing. And there you have it. A fractal burn epoxy charcuterie board using Upstart's 1-to-1 tabletop epoxy. For any questions on this build or for commissioning a custom piece, reach out to me on Instagram at Garden State Epoxy. Thanks for watching.